Well, good morning and welcome to Grandfather's Garage. I'm Grandfather, and this YouTube channel is for my now 4 grandkids, Panine, Roland, Una, and Helena. Good morning, kids, because they live too far away to come spend every Saturday morning in their grandfather's garage messing around. So this is my way of bringing the garage to them with all of its projects and some of life's tidbits. We're going to build stuff, repair things, do some fishing, take some field trips, all so I can share some time with them. We're glad you could join us, so let's go see what we're going to do today in the garage. Come on. On our back patio, we have a fairly narrow area that is really just the walkway up to the sliding door. The far corner is where the grill sits next to the house. The idea here was to add a trellis to give the area some definition, act as an entryway to the sliding door, and maybe provide a little shade to the sliding doors as well. The project started with a rough sketch, and from that, a lumber list. What would make this project unique was I was going to Shou Sugi Ban, or burn, all of the lumber to give it its unique coloration. After our initial drawing, Alora recommended a design change to add the fan effect on the corner, hence a revised drawing. Since I wanted a slight design feature on the end of the beams, I made a template to use for marking the trellis ends. With a jigsaw, I cut and then sanded the ends for all of the top pieces. The most tedious part of this whole process ended up being burning the wood. I have a small torch, and there are 4 sides to every piece of lumber. There was a surprising amount of lumber. This took hours. After all the parts were torched, I used Thompson water seal to coat each piece. The prep work here took forever, but the wood has a very unique look. There was a light fixture mounted in the brick wall right where I needed to put one of the columns. So I had to make a new base for the light on the column and cut out the back for wire access. I raised the light up a bit so I would stop hitting my head on it, and hence there's a bit of a trough on the back of the column for the wire. Because we do get hurricanes here, I needed the columns and the top beam very securely anchored to the wall. I did this by drilling into the mortar between the bricks and adding lead anchors. These lead anchors would be holding galvanized lag bolts bolted through the columns in 2 places and the header in several places. I used 1/2 inch anchors and 5/16 inch bolts, so there was a very snug fit between the bolts and the anchors. I also added adhesive to the anchors just to be overly cautious. Because I didn't want a column interrupting the sliding door, I needed a long header beam spanning the whole length and very securely anchored. To help protect the columns from water damage, I used construction adhesive and placed them on stones that were then also glued directly to the concrete patio. Those suckers aren't moving. The next step was to anchor the columns to the wall and add the main beam over the sliding door. The columns were cut so the header beam could rest securely on the column, and the main beam was a 2x8, so I could add a 2x2 lip that would support the top beams, which would be 2x6s. The outer columns were set in place and connected to the outer beam with stainless screws. Once the outer perimeter was in place, I could add the top beams. I started adding beams at the far end and worked my way over to the corner. This is the fan section, which I think came out really cool. I then added short cross beams, spacers,
to help keep the top beams from twisting and bowing as they weathered in the sun. This is the new base for the light fixture as it's mounted on the column, and then here's the fixture in place. Well, this is the finished product. It adds a nice feature that breaks up the plain back section of the house. The hardest part of this whole project was burning and sealing all the lumber. Halfway through, I questioned my sanity, but in the end, I love the unique look of the burned wood. As always, I hope you enjoyed following along with this project, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one.